So let's now get some examples of words in the ablative that are expressing all of these things about action. So let's start out with our sentences. We're going to make the subject the Cornelii for our first sentence. And by the way, I'm going to be embedding within this video beans, certain kind of beans. So be on the listen out for that for an easy free 100 for watching. So the Cornelians, they depart. So that is the word discedo, discedere. And so let's then see from where they are departing. So we're going to first use the answer to the question unde. They depart from the country house. And so it would be here, Wheeler. And you see now that the place from where might have a preposition, but it is in the ablative case because it is telling us what about that action from where that action takes place. Let's have another example in which you could have all of these sentences, in which I suppose we'll move to I guess we'll go to number 3. No, we'll go to number 4. So let's have Davus, and we're going to have him doing something to Geta. And of course, what are we going to have him do to Geta? Werberat. Davus beats Geta. And where is he going to be beating Geta? He's going to be beating him in Ramis. Now, what very often you will find is that we all know that the object of a preposition can only be in the ablative or the accusative. So that's why we know it's in the branches. But between the actual object of the preposition, you will find sometimes another word in there, like arboris, which with that short is genitive. So it is in Ramis arboris, in the branches of the tree. And let's have the same sentence of sorts right above it, in which it will say that the dogs, the canes, they're going to do something to Getam, and what they're going to do is that they're going to Inwaniant. They find Geta, and it's the same place. Where? So why is Ramis in the ablative? Because it's telling us the place where. It's answering the question ubi. Where do they do that finding? And so we'll have it again in Arboris Ramis. Every single noun you should be able to point at and tell what case it is and why. What case is that nominative? Why? Because Davos is the one that's doing the beating. What case is that and why? It's the accusative, because obviously it is the accusative direct object. And we'll have another one here. Let's go with, again, the canes as our basis. And we'll say that they do something to Getam. And actually, I should have put this sentence down here, but oh well, it's okay. Getam. Before they find, or I should say after they find him, they're going to grab him. So that would be a rib iunt. So the dogs grab Geta. And you will say that they grab him where? Again, in the branches of the tree. So we should be switching number 2 and 3, but that's okay. We're not worried about the chronology of the story. Now, the ablative, remember, can also tell us when an action occurs. So, the Cornelians depart. They leave from the country house. Secunda ora. That's just merely an adjective modifying ora. So again, by, with, because of, from, in, on, at the second hour. It is telling us when this action occurs. Davos beats Geta. You could say Ila Nocte. I'm going to need some more space. Where about? There we are. And so, Davos beats Geta at that night. What is the case of Nocte? It is ablative. Why? Because it is telling us the time when an action is going to occur. And so, we can move on then as well. We have another sentence we can make up in which we will say the Cornelians, they depart, and then eventually, Cornelii, Romam, Adveniant. They come to or arrive to Rome. And here it's going to answer the question of when, what time. So you have the time when on that night, the time when at the second hour. But you can also have the time within which, in which, for example, we will say those dogs are looking for Geta, and they find Geta in the branches of the tree. And they do so tribus oris. Do you see how it's within 3 hours? Or in 3 hours, if you would like. Your first bean is a garbanzo bean, spelled like this. Garbanzo. I like them. It's also known as a chickpea, but garbanzo. So, you have it that says, now we are at that time within which, in 3 hours, the dogs find Geta. It's in the ablative because it's telling us the time within which an action occurs. Likewise, the Cornelians arrive to Rome. You could have it as duobus, which is ablative. Diebus, which is ablative. You do not know the fifth declension as of yet, but in 2 days, an ablative of time within which. So, moving on to another sentence, in which you could say, to add an ablative of accompaniment. Remember, the ablative of accompaniment is answering the question, with whom does the action occur? Singular, quocum. So if you play doubles tennis, I would say, quocum do you play tennis? But if you play on the basketball team, I would say, quibuscum do you play basketball? Because quocum, with what one person, that would make doubles tennis versus the basketball team, several. And so, with whom do you play? Tennis player, I ask quocum. Whereas basketball player, I ask quibuscum. That's the difference between the singular and the plural. So, we want to know, with whom does Cornelius beat? Well, you could say, cum sexto, with Sextus. Now, that does not mean that he literally picks up Sextus and beats Geta with Sextus. No, Sextus is accompanying with him. He is doing this action as a, shall we say, partner. He is accompanying him. Likewise, they could say that the dogs find Geta. You could have cum dalo with Dalus. He's again accompanying. With whom are they doing the action as a group or a unit, if you would like? So, that's your ablative of accompaniment. The ablative of means. What gives them the ability? So the dogs, they can't use their paws to grab him, so they can grab Geta. Dentibus. Oh, that's a bad writing of that letter D, so I'll do it again. Dentibus. They grab him with their teeth. The teeth give them the ability. And so it is the means by which. You can also add another ablative of means. By the tunica. So the dogs grab Geta with their teeth, ablative of means. You can understand it as maybe their instrument, or the teeth their instrument, it could be. They grab him by the tunica. The Cornelians leave from the country house at the second hour. They do so raida, by carriage, the means by which the action can occur. By carriage. Now we all know that obviously and I can do the same down here, raida, but let's say that they've given up that carriage and instead they were horseback. The carriage crashes out in the ditch. Equis. So, the Cornelians arrive to Rome in 2 days by horses, or on horses you could have. Remember, by, with, because of, from, in, on, at. And then finally, to have a little bit of instrument. So he beats Geta in the branches of the tree on that night with Sextus, and he beats him. Bachulo. He beats him with a stick. It is a literal instrument that he is using to do this beating. And I still don't have enough room. I'll do it a little bit more. Where berat. And that leads us to the ablative of manner. The manner is the abstract quality. Sometimes it has a cum, but it doesn't have to have it. I put an asterisk there. It doesn't have to have it. And so, you could say that the dogs grab Geta with their teeth by the tunica, ferocitate. They grab him with ferocity. And you could say that Dalus beats Geta, magna, I'm going to run out of room, cum ira. Those are a separate word. I put it a little too close together. Your second bean, by the way, is the pinto bean, P-I-N-T-O, pinto bean. Where bear rot. And so here that magna is modifying era. The cum is there, and it is the abstract quality with great anger. Likewise here, the Cornelians arrive to Rome in 2 days on horses. That's the means by which they get there. Because I could have put down pedibus. They could arrive on their feet, or what we would say on foot. And they do so laetitia. If litus or litus litai is happy, this is happiness, the noun of it. If I wanted to, I can have cum that is with it. So I'm going to leave out the ablative of cause, because we're going to see those in subsequent chapters. But here, if we were to look at every single sentence, you should be able to tell what is the case and why. What's the case? Nominative. Why? The Cornelians are the subject. They're the ones doing the departing. Ablative. Why? Because it's telling us the place from where the action occurs. Again, it's going to be a noun telling us something about the action. What is the case? Ablative. Why? Because it tells us the time when. What is the case? The ablative, because it gives us the means. By what means do they depart? They don't depart by means of their feet, by means of a helicopter, it's by means of a minivan. Likewise, kane is nominative subject. They're doing the grabbing. Geton, the direct object, receiving that action. Dentibus, that is their means or instrument. It gives them the ability to do the grabbing. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to grab you. They have paws. They've got to use their teeth. They grab him by the tunica. Look at that long A. By, with, because of, from, in, on, at. It is the means. He'd be slippery and get away. That gives them the ability to grab him. That tunica. And what is the abstract quality of this ablative is the manner. The manner with which they grab him, with ferocity. Likewise, nominative. Why subject? Accusative. Why direct object? Genitive. Why? It shows the possession. The branches belong to the tree. The branches of the tree. The trees, apostrophe S, branches. Branches is in the ablative because it is telling us where is this finding occurring. It is occurring in the branches. Oris is ablative, modified by the adjective tribus. Why? It is the ablatives telling us when, or within what time. In 3 hours they find him, and then dawo is ablative with that cum, telling us that he is accompanying the dogs. With whom do they find him? They do it with dawos. Dawos is subject nominative, accusative direct object, genitive possession, ablative place where, nocte, time when. When do they find him? Quando do they find him? Quando means when. They find him at night, on that night. Accompaniment. Sextus is doing it with him, doing the beating. They're both wailing on him. With a stick. So please note, it does say, Dawos beats Geta with Sextus with a stick. With Sextus, accompaniment with a cum. With a stick is your instrument. The instrument that they, of course, they're using, the ablative case. And then ira, with anger. With Sextus, with a stick, with anger. We use the word with in English in all 3 instances, but with Sextus, with that cum as accompaniment, with a stick, tell us the instrument, and with anger is the abstract quality, the emotion, the manner in which it occurs. And then, of course, the last one, the Cornelians are our subject. They arrive to Rome. That is a directional. I could have left out, I did leave out the odd. That's your ablative. Within what time? That is your ablative. It gives them the ability, the means. And this is the manner. They arrive with happiness. And of course, we could add one more sentence. We all know that Geta, after this beating, he clamat. He yells out. He shouts out. Oh, in what manner? Magna. Okay. A voice is an abstract quality. In a loud voice does he, of course, shout out. And let's put another manner in there. He shouts out dolore. This is the word for pain or grief. And again, with the ablative of manner, it's optional to have the cum. With pain does get a shout and a loud voice after this beating. So those are the uses of the ablative. Your third and final bean is black. Simple black beans, which I'm quite a fan of. You have all of these usages and words of the ablative case which are answering the question, where does it happen? From where does it happen? When does it happen? With whom does it happen? In what manner does it happen? With what instrument does it happen? In what manner does it happen? Or by what means? Modo could be manner or means. Or, as we will learn in later chapters, with what cause or by what cause does the action occur. So, here it is. your ablative usages. Thanks for watching.